Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Coming to you almost live from the Sacred Spawning Pool in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. It's the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 147. It is May 21st, and I'm your host, Bill, Poor Dinos, Happy Slan, Costello, and with me,
all the way from the rolling plains of Chigoris, it's Josh. I actually painted the con alt.
Yes, you did. Holy hand grenades. He looks great, man. He looks awesome. I guess we'll get to that in creation, but he is.
We'll discuss my meager painting abilities then.
Yeah, shit. Okay.
So it's the long-awaited episode of Seraphon. Sorry, folks.
It's been a month.
It's been a month. Life's been rough. Work, health issues, Mother's Day, my dog passing away.
Yeah.
We are all just caught up in life. But
yep,
we're here.
We are, finally.
So,
and today we're going to do the Seraphon Path to Glory, along with Seraphon Changes, which are, by the way, numerous and, oh my God. And but we're also going to do part 3 of the narrative, and this is going to be a quick part. It's literally just getting started with execution and thinking about the things that you have to look towards to start planning the execution of your campaign.
you know, avoiding pitfalls. Not the Atari game, but
no, that's
like,
a fun game.
Yeah, really old game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun little one. The Seraphon stuff, there's a lot of changes, so
Oh, God.
excuse us if we just kind of go through them. There's a lot of channels that talked about their abilities and such,
Yeah.
so if you want the deep dive, go elsewhere, but we will get into the Path to Glory, which is, again, following the similar pattern to other things. It's simpler,
Yes, very.
so that means the book's really powerful, which it is. Oh, my God.
Okay, I can win with it. It's a good book.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here when we get to battle, huh?
Yeah, just a little.
So we're glad to be back, glad to be recording. We got some stuff to update you on. So why don't we get into it?
Yeah, let's do. Rather than just cover back, we'll start New Dawn.
Yep.
And rather than cover everything that, happened while we've been away 2 weeks, we'll just cover what ended up pre-ordering yesterday.
Jesus.
Was that Kill Team box from... Okay, so preface this with, I was at the store early, got logged on, ordered my box. Willow was right behind me, ordered her box. That was it.
Yes.
They were out of stock. And I think on the other terminal, Gav got his, and then another person went in to get theirs, and it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, that thing sold out in 5 minutes. Oh, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had preloaded a gift card because I wasn't going to be there.
Yep.
And so I didn't get the pre-order, but I know our store is getting stocked. And so talked to the manager, and so I'm hoping to get a box.
Yeah.
So
Looks that way. And that Kill Team box it's not just the models, it's the entire campaign thing.
Man.
That's, it looks like it's going to be over the top.
yeah.
So, and this is the kind of thing that my little narrative heart rejoices at.
Oh, yeah.
That is a Kill Team narrative in a box. I mean, it quite literally, yes, it's designed for Kill Team and it's, super competitive. No, not really.
No.
It's there for fun and to have a great time with. So please do more like that.
The amount of models you're getting in this box is absurd.
It's truly, and the wide range.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's essentially 6 individual boxes that you would buy on your own.
Yeah.
In one with the campaign. It doesn't have the Kill Team like core rule book or anything like that, which is part of why it's cheaper, so to speak. But I mean, you're getting Chaos Cultists, a Curse Cultist,
Sisters of Silence,
the Dark Commune, the New Inquisitors, and some, oh God, Cadian Shock Troops jumped in my head. Militarum Tempestus.
The Scions.
And that's going to be one of the funnest parts about that Kill Team for the Inquisitors is that they can conscript like 6 different other units to join them. So you get Kazarkin, you get Cadians. I don't know what else you can get other than the Sisters of Silence and the Militarum Tempestus. So, but I think there's 6 total.
Yeah.
So you have this really cool, the Exaction Squad for sure.
Yeah.
And the Navy Breachers. There you go.
So I mean, it's nuts.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing. I wonder what it'll be like for boarding actions when we actually get their rules. But that box was insane. It's gone for a reason.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they release that new Kill Team here pretty quickly. The Inquisitors on their own.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's coming. And then in the world of 30K, We got the Legion Vindicator Siege tank went up for pre-order, and for some odd reason, I didn't manage to order it because I'm stupid or something like that. I don't know.
It was sort of a focus fire yesterday, right? Everyone was trying to get the Ashes
Yeah.
of Fate, so you didn't want to belabor it.
I didn't want to be screwing around, so.
And the Siege of Cathonia dropped as well.
Yeah.
Right? Campaigns for the Age of Darkness.
Yeah, a 30K campaign book, which I'm good.
Yeah.
That's a really good release. I like the idea that they're backing 30K up with different ways to play, not just, hey, let's take some points and smash each other.
Yeah.
So, and I think in order to really grow and keep the new audience that 30K is getting, it needs to do something like that.
Correct. I
Because
agree.
it already has a very solid core of hardcore 30K players.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about them. They will continue to play using their modified rules and their special stuff, but you need something for other people
Yeah.
who are just trying to get into it and trying to enjoy it.
Well, a game that's not competitive, right? And it's very core, you know?
Yeah.
It is so much more lore driven to be able to provide these campaign books so that it expands what you're capable of doing, you know?
Yep.
I mean, imagine when they actually start reaching out and doing like the major battles, right?
Yeah.
With a structured campaign setup. Like, I think it's going to be amazing.
When they do a book for the Siege of Terra or Istvan
Yeah.
3-4, it's going to be nuts. I mean, I can see a campaign. If they do something like Firestorm or even Urban Conquest, but you put that on Istvan and you literally have like cards that are going to show the different areas and who controls, that could be the most wild campaign ever. I like it.
I like it too.
So that was the pre-orders from yesterday. The things that came out yesterday, well, there was this little small box for Warcry. I don't know. It looks all right.
Looks all right.
It's the Nightmare Quest box, which is, if you didn't get your Seraphon terrain piece, you need that box, or you need to con someone who has the box into giving you the pyramid. So, because that's your terrain piece.
It's actually smaller.
It is.
It's physically smaller, so you won't have the full Realm Shaper engine size.
Yeah, and range.
Recommendation is find out the measurement differences, because I don't know if they are off the top of my head. Little cardstock on the bottom.
Yep, make
little,
a base.
Little growth around it, whatever you want to do. You can make it nice and pretty, but that's the new FEC release. Woohoo! So we get to see somewhat of what's coming for Flesh Eater Courts.
Yes, and I have the box. I haven't popped it open yet because it's been crazy, and I am dying to really get a good look at those models.
Oh,
so
they look gorgeous.
yeah.
Well, even the Stormcast are really interesting too, because it appears they're essentially like the heroes from the Silver Tower.
Yeah.
And they look pretty strong. I mean, it is literally a full warband of just heroes.
Yes.
So it's going to be a fun one to play.
I think we're in the year of Hero Hammer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Might be getting there. The new White Dwarf 488 dropped. You got more of the Herald of Misery campaign in there. Looking pretty good. So we talked about before, our store was running the event, right, for the boarding actions and such. And it looks like, well, our store will be featured in the White Dwarf coming up.
Yay.
Which one will it be? I don't know.
Your guess? Yeah, that's why I wonder what 500 will be like. I doubt they would wait a year, but you know, you never know. It's nice to have not only a store, but a manager that actually makes it work.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Additional note on Warcry, the individual boxes for the Vampire Samurai or Vampire Ninjas, whatever you want to call them, and the Claws of Karanak were dropped.
Yep.
I just can't remember. Ashkurgan True Blades, I think, is what the vampires are. I would love to just have tons of their armor panels that I can put on, White Scars, so I can get the army I want to have. Both those boxes came out individually. The Nightmare Quest, solid buy if you want to get into Warcry for the terrain.
Oh yeah.
The two. I just thought of something. The two warbands. You have Stormcast versus Flesh Eater Courts. As we know, there's only one book, I think, at this point that hasn't been announced, which is Flesh Eater Courts.
Oh wait,
which is set to come out much later in the year. So I'm wondering if they're going to be tipping into the next edition or not, because we have the Dawnbringer Crusade with the Harbingers coming up. So.
Yeah, you think they'll be the poster children, Stormcast Beck?
It could be
in the new. Well, I hope we don't wait that long.
Yeah,
I hope it is a end of year release for FEC. They need this.
Yes,
badly.
Oh, we need it so badly. And those new models are great. I'll rant about that in After Dark. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the last week.
Yeah, I mean it's been a crazy slow release. I have to believe that the 40K is doing that.
Oh yeah.
The amount of traffic that is being generated about how they're not going to screw this up.
Yeah.
They are not going to make the mistakes they made, which, actually with Indomitus, yes, mistakes were made. And then they fixed those to where for ages, Indomitus was in every store.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that with Leviathan. Please, for the love of God, make enough. Put the queue system into place, one per customer, and move on from there. And that's what they're saying is going to happen. The Queue-It is going to be up and live that day, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, the only thing, I don't think I'll buy multiple copies of this one this time, because I did that last time where I bought one and then got one in store.
Yep.
Because I think the only like repeat models I really look at, maybe Termagants, but the Screamer Killer, Terminators, that's about it, because everything else feels very unitary, right?
Yep.
Unless I want to spam Las Cannon Dreads and Iron Hands, but I don't even know what they're going to be like in 10th. But I mean, you're not really going to be, I don't think you'll be taking more than one Neuro Tyrant or,
right,
that kind of stuff. But
it's a strange release box, and I think they learned a lesson that when you made that box, the Indomitus box, so freaking generic that everyone needed it, and having more than one was good.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, yay for sales, boo for, oh my God, we didn't make enough.
Yeah.
So, and Leviathan looks to me to be a far more focused box. Here's the rule book. Here's all the stuff you need for 10th edition. Oh, and here's some models.
Yeah.
So, everything's new and different, but you're not going to need to double and triple this stuff. In fact, it'd be stupid to have more than one, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and just the amount of paper that you end up just stacking up because of it.
Yeah.
Almost everyone's going to get one. Some people might try and like split two and just only want the one half of Space Marines. Or,
Sure.
I think I don't know. Kind of want both. I really want the Neuro Tyrant just because it's very Cthulhu-esque.
Oh, yeah.
I just want that aspect of it,
Yep.
So yeah, it's we'll talk more about our thoughts on 10th edition in After Dark today.
Yep.
But after that, the only thing is you have to wait for the news at 11
Yeah.
for us to tell you what's coming out next week.
Correct. And we have at least an hour. So shall we jump into creation?
I think so. We got a lot to talk about.
We do.
All right, Bill.
Want me to go?
Yeah, I do, because you actually had a lot of creation.
Not terribly, really. In that initial, oh my God, Seraphon are here. Woohoo! Decided to build the box. I bought 2 boxes, built the first one. Very, very impressed with all of the models. So well done. Executed flawlessly. I just love the way they're doing models these days. And of course, the box itself is phenomenally good.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and didn't paint any of them because I had projects from before that I needed to finish up, especially now that the construction of the army has changed so much. I had to finish my Skink Oracle on Troglodon because he is a severely key piece to your army now. And I had to look at my guard and my warriors and go, oh, guys, it's been good to know you, but I'm sorry. I don't want you anymore. So sadly, I still have a lot of Seraphon to paint.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be fun. And the new Croxies, just everything is so gorgeous. I can't wait for the general release of Seraphon, which I'm hoping is going to come before. I'm kind of hoping it hits today so that it's before 40K. But we will see. So that was my painting, the Troglodon, a couple of other monsters, and I built up. I remembered that I was so into Coalesce that I didn't even have an Astrolith bearer.
You didn't?
No.
Oh wow.
So I am using the really old Failcast resin. Sorry, did I say Failcast out loud? Yes, I did. I'm using the resin. I can't remember the name of him. The kit. He was discontinued even before the last book. God, he was the other bearer that worked along with the Astrolith bearer. But he'll be my Astrolith bearer. So
okay.
He'll be that guy. I did buy that Emunhen head.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that came in. But what really made me sad was I didn't have the rest of Amon Hen. So I bought the rest of Amon Hen.
There you go.
As you can see from my notes there, it was Holy Mold Relief Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, those pieces were so slick. I was like, the first time I dunked them in soapy water and cleaned them with a toothbrush, that was like to get the goo off. Then I had to do it again to get the residue off. It was nuts how much mold release was on there, but still, I mean, an amazing, beautiful sculpt. Nothing warped. Nothing is out of shape. So they're getting, at the 11th hour when they're about ready to close, the Forge World stuff is really starting to hit its stride. So yeah, I've got Amon Hen to do. I got to get that. I decanted all of my GW air paints into dropper bottles, big dropper bottles, because I realized so many of them are now no longer available. And I just wanted to have access to all of them all the time. And, you know, being as we're here in the desert, the pots just don't work. It's so dry here that literally you open the pot, you might as well just in a month kiss that paint goodbye. It's that bad. So put all those into dropper bottles and just was really amazed at how many colors they took out of the range. And I was just super shocked, like the Sons of Horus green, which is a phenomenal green for Sons of Horus models.
Yep.
And it's gone. It's out of the range.
Jeez.
So weird. And it just begs the question of why do they even have an air paint range when they don't have air? Okay. GW, you surprise me sometimes. And the last thing I wanted to comment on was I got my Speed Paints 2.0 Mega, oh my God, set. And I have to say that, well, they have balls. No, literally, they have mixing balls in the jugs now.
Yeah.
So very nice touch. Very good for contrast paints. GW, you could learn from this. I'm just saying. But I would say that the Speed Paints 2.0 are probably on par with the GW contrast paints. Measure for measure. They're just that good now. They've actually improved, more colors, far better executed. And when it gets right down to it, the price point is going to be a thing for most people. And honestly, you look at the D&D crowd, you look at the crowd from the board game world where they want to paint the games that have all these miniatures in them, and they don't want to pay GW prices. Even Vallejo prices can be a little daunting at times. And here comes this range of speed paints that actually does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
And they're coming in as cheap as they are. I think they got a winner on their hands finally. I just wonder if they can survive the backlash from the people that bought 1.0 and are a little salty about that. But really don't. Just replace your paints with 2.0 and press on. You'll be happy you did.
Cool.
So that's my creation. I did do a lot of odd little middling stuff here. I unboxed and primed a whole bunch of BattleTech stuff, but nobody wants to hear that. So, and of course the MCP stuff. Yeah, just a little bit. So anyway, what'd you do?
I painted the con. Actually finished him up this morning. I wouldn't say finished. I said he's done, but he's not finished, right? In the sense that I got to the place where I'm happy where he is now.
He looks awesome. I mean, he
you.
looks so good.
It was quite the journey. My favorite Primarch. I was so just nervous about painting him. And I mean, I'm okay at painting, right? I'm not like good at it. I'm more like a speed painter.
I think you sell yourself short because when you take the time on a model like that, it's really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, I'm just, the Candyland stuff is off the hook. So we'll get to that. But
oh, yeah. That one's a really easy paint scheme.
But it's the execution. It's doing it right.
And that's what I said. Like I try and find the best way to get something to look good quickly. With the con, I really leveled up some of my skills. I spent a lot of time working certain things. In particular, oh boy, painting his facial hair, his eyebrows, freehanding the lightning bolt on his forehead. Right? There's a lot of things that I was just scared to death to do. And I was like, screw it. Let's go. I think it pushed me to a new level in some respects. Really fun. So I finished the con proper. I haven't done his scenic base yet. So, I mean, I can play him in Horus Heresy now.
Sure.
But I need to finish the scenic base, which is easy. It's mostly gray with a death guard that's dead on the ground. So It'll be pretty easy to get that done.
Gray and green. Okay.
Oh, that's the old bone color.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It's the real
It's
Death Guard.
the real Death Guard. I play real Death Guard.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Just neck bearding all over the place.
Jesus.
The Candyland stuff. Yeah. So a few years back, I won the Path to Glory campaign using Flesh Eater quartz.
Yes.
I painted them sort of traditional, like green looking, just very basic. But the joke was that my Ghoul King was the king of Candyland, and him and his knights were marching to stop the Gumdrop Rebellion. And well, years have passed. I got the itch again. I have a ton of Flesh Eater quartz models, unpainted, by the way. So I was like, you know what? I think it seems like the Gumdrop Rebels are becoming upstarts again.
Oh my God, those little.
And so the King of Candyland is coming back, but the delusion has changed him.
Oh.
And those around him. So I started painting him up pink and blue, like cotton candy. And all of the bones, I paint them white, so they're like bleached bone.
Sure.
And then I use, blood for the blood god to make candy stripes on them.
So disgusting. I love it.
And all like certain parts are like the rocks they might carry, something like that. It's chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
The King's Sword is chocolate. And then the only metallic I use is gold.
Yeah.
Just thinking of like Ferrero Rocher and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the bases, I use the Valhalla Blizzard.
Yeah.
Then what I'll do is, and here's the kicker, right? Really pro tip here. After I do the art coat on everything to make it look shiny and candy-like, I put glittery nail polish on it. Particularly on the candy or on like the big characters, like the Ghoul King actually has the nail polish on him too.
Sure.
I got really high off it because I don't like the fumes. So I sat there with a headache afterwards, but I did on all the bases and it looks kind of like icing.
Yeah.
Right. So really fun effects. We have Warcry starting today. So after we record, I got to go fight my Warcry battles. We're doing the big stomp.
Yep.
So we're going to be, or is it the great stomp? Whatever
Great
it is.
Stomp.
We're doing that. So I've got my Warcry card. It parlays directly into the Path to Glory campaign we'll be doing. Now, Feck only has like a little Path to Glory and White Dwarf 477 or something.
Yep.
So it's not going to be like too grandiose or anything for me now, but it'll help me get my army ready for when the new book drops.
Yeah,
and the cool thing we're doing at the shop is that if any units that you use in Warcry,
right,
if you get one unit of that type in Path to Glory that starts with a veteran ability.
Yeah.
So real powerful.
Yes.
Real
Very
powerful.
Nice.
So I'm taking Ghouls, Crypt Flayer, Crypt Horror, and Abhorrent Archregent. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Oh my God.
What am I going to start with, I wonder?
I don't know.
So yeah, then I painted a Crypt Flayer, a Crypt Haunter, and 11 Ghouls. I have 29 more Ghouls queued up. It's a really simple paint scheme, so it's easy, but it looks great because it's just like the right layering of the colors to blend together. So their skin is pink, except their hands and feet are blue.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll be posting some of that up on my Instagram or in the Discord. I also painted a Master of Executions for World Eaters.
Yay.
My Kit Bashed one and 3 Exalted 8-bound. That was for the most recent. You had to have like a hero plus like his bodyguard unit for Armies on Parade. Painted Iron Hands Librarian, and I started work on a Vargulf Courtier. I don't have the old one because I don't want the old one. So I just glowed up one of the flare kits, gave him like the multiple wings, put him on a 60 mil base. I have, like some of the bodies, sticking out of posts and stuff,
Nice.
which will obviously be painted like chocolate
Of course.
because that's all there are, right?
Yeah. Hell, it's Candyland. Come on.
It is. And that's like the thing I did with this. Like, it looks like candy canes, but then what's the actual perverted story? No, it's actually bleached bone.
Yeah.
And they use the blood and gore from their enemies to put around to make the candy canes, right? They're not actually candy. None of it is.
And I can see that. I can hear them singing, "We are Santa's elves."
They do almost look, they look Christmassy because of the candy cane part.
They kind
right?
of do, yeah.
But it's, I also have my matching dice for them too.
That's
They'll be using
awesome.
the campaign. It's going to be a fun time. I'll make sure to post some pictures up.
Definitely.
That was all my creation.
Well, we had a month.
Yeah.
Come on. Jeez.
Interestingly enough, well, I think we're done with creation. Moving to battle. I'll do my part quickly. I didn't play any battles.
Wait, what?
I had played like all of my stuff for the Retribution Crusade early, got that done. But since I recorded, I haven't played anything because mostly I want everyone else to be playing the games in the store to get the stamps on the card.
Right.
And I'll be frank, as much as I like some of the kids there, they take forever to play the game.
Yeah.
When 50 power takes you 2.5 hours, like,
oh my God, no.
Yeah, it's a problem.
That's me style playing. Good Lord.
I was joking that your game should only take 1 minute per power level.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So that to the folks yesterday is like, we have to complete these cards. People need to play games. You need to get it done. Wow. Right? 25 minutes. And then whoever has the most points wins.
We're going to call you Chess Clock Josh. Jeez.
I mean, what can I say?
Hardcore. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, I got some battles in.
You did.
I did. I played 3 games of AOS with the new book, which was very, very unfair. I have to start out saying that when you know your rules and your opponent has no clue and has to believe what you say, it's fun. Actually, Denny poured over the book for a little while before we played because he knows how bad I can be. I ended up proxying a whole bunch. I mean, I had the skinks, I had the warriors, the guard. I had to proxy the cavalry and stuff. So, I mean, it was relatively easy. Was able to put together a crazy, crazy list that I know is going to get nerfed to oblivion. My 2,000 point list right now, I would hope that in the very near future is 2,500 points.
Yeah.
Because they need some adjustment really across the board to dinos. And we'll get into that when we get into lore. But the first game I played was against the Daughters of Cain. And it's not fair what you do to an army like Daughters of Cain with that just mortal wound output.
Yeah.
Just the straight out. And I was, of course, playing Starborn with Croak, the whole 9 yards. And it's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Decimated him on turn 1, and he had the top of 1, which was a mistake. He should not have, because he actually came to me, which just made my life easier.
Yep.
It made my alpha strike so much easier, and he learned from that. But it was just brutal to just wipe, and I don't normally do this. This hardly ever happens where I get an alpha strike off that eliminated 2 units of snake ladies, and then running in the cavalry, eliminating a unit of witch elves. Just as at that point, it really was game over.
Yeah.
Because his ability to cap objectives at that point was getting really low.
Yes.
And then it became just focus fire with Croak and the other spellcasters. It was brutal game, but it was our first one, and I'm pretty sure we did everything right, but it was ugly. So then he decided to take out his Stormcast, and it's the typical problem with Stormcast. They are really in it until they reach that tipping point where they've had enough losses to where their combat effectiveness has gone down to the point to where their best choice is to go on defense.
Yep.
And at that point, they can't defend against the mortal wound output.
No.
So it was a much closer game, but again, it only lasted into the top of 4 before it was over as well. Just didn't have enough units to take objectives away. So, and meanwhile, I'm running skinks around the board and literally disappearing them and reappearing them at will. And it's just the Stormcast can't keep up with that kind of speed.
Nope.
They just can't. And then several days, many, well, probably a week and a half later, tried the Daughters of Cain game again, and he watched some videos.
Yeah.
He watched some Seraphon videos, and he was like, okay, I know what to do. And this was way closer. I actually ended up having to roll 3 or 4 times to see if Croak died immediately, because he actually was able to put wounds on him. Didn't put a single wound on Croak the first game. Never even got close enough.
Yeah.
In this one, it was much, much different. I was tossing Saurus guard like there was no tomorrow, but the Croxagore were just going in there and ripping face. And it turned out it was much more even game. In fact, I thought even at the end of turn 4, I did not think I had enough time and room to get in the objectives to get enough points to win, because he was ahead by 6 or 8. 6. He was ahead by 6. But battle tactics win the day for you.
There you go.
You know, ended up winning all 3 games, which to me that just means that I will now be on a losing streak for the next year and a half.
I don't know.
I never win 3 games.
Well, if you keep honing and playing your Seraphon and focusing on that faction, I think you'll make it. They just are so powerful. And even with the points adjustments, they're still going to be just so powerful.
Yeah.
They are just so good right now.
Well, Starborn are so good right now. On a side note, in the BattleTech world, played another game in the campaign, the ongoing campaign, and it was 2 lances versus 2 lances, so 8 mechs on a side.
Yeah.
Wow, what a nutty game! And this didn't come down to just dicing. It was just a question of when I got critical hits, I got amazing system damage on his. When he got critical hits on me, he would do next to nothing.
Ugh.
I mean, he would either hit empty spots or he would knock out a small laser or something. It just was completely, I bludgeoned him hard. And we are playing the full salvage rules. And since he abandoned the field, I ended up, it was so nuts. I got 6 captured mechs. Out of the 8 that he had, I captured 6, was able to fully scrap one of them, and the other one was destroyed. And just the amount of money increase that I got and spare parts and actual mech frames that I can now build up to, oh my Lord, I am in such a great spot in that game. It is nuts. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
I played 6 games on TTS, Tabletop Simulator of MCP. I played 6 games, and those are the last 6 games I'm going to play. I've decided no more Tabletop Simulator. I just don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I had great opponents. We were playing the campaign, the ongoing campaign. I had great opponents. I just don't like the feel of playing If I'm going to do that, I'll play a computer game.
Yep.
You know, and not being able to talk to the person and laugh and go buy him a beer or something. It lacked so much. I did not enjoy it. I won 4 of those games, lost 2 of them. Unfortunately, the 2 that I lost were the big ones. It was the last 2 games, which put me into the elimination round. However, I am really on the back foot. I had to replace 3 heroes. So I'm going to be starting the first game with 3 of my team are going to have no initial power phase. So yeah, I'm way on the back foot on that one.
Ouch.
But you know, it's fun. I mean, it's been a fun league, and I will play those elimination round games because you got to do that. You signed up for it. You got to do it.
Yep.
But those are my last games at TTS. I just don't enjoy that. I mean, I love the system. It works great. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's take a quick break, and then we will jump into lore. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Make sure you join us tonight for the news at 11.
I can hardly contain my excitement, not only at the nice lady, but it's here.
It is. So if you used your Zoetic dial to predict that we would record the Seraphon episode on the same date that their entire line released,
yes,
you win the game. Bill,
have...
this is your show.
Oh,
you take it away.
My God. So, needless to say, it is the Seraphon release. So both editions of the book are coming out, the collector's edition and the regular edition. I'm really sad because I really love the one from the army box, and I don't see myself buying either one of those.
Yeah, that one's a lot prettier.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool, and I like it better. Also, it looks like out on its own is going to be the Slan Star Master, who was included in the big army box. He's a very cool, very good addition to your army. Then you also have the Skink Starseer, another very cool model.
Love that model.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. And you might want to think about buying 1 or 2 of these because bit and piece-wise, all the parts of that model are so usable everywhere else.
Correct.
And you can cut most of this stuff up and use it as detail pieces on so many other things.
Oh, yeah, you can even use the entire model for basing because...
Yeah.
Screw Seraphon, right? No.
Hey.
Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah.
The Saurus Scar Veteran on Agrodon. Oh, my God. He looks so good. The Agrodon looks good. The Scar Vet looks amazing. Oh, even his lollipop is awesome. Oh, my God.
I love the Agrodon because it screams Velociraptor.
Yes.
It looks so good. And I will say, though, with this and the other riders, little weird to me that you have like super buff lizards. Maybe it's the paint scheme, the white paint scheme.
Yeah, it's
because the normal like Saurus warriors look great, but for some reason he just looks real jacked.
yeah, he's jacked. He is. Well, he's a Scar vet. You know, he's been around. He's not missed a lot of. Well, he's missed some leg days, but not arm days. He's good.
He just has short legs.
He's good. He has his short little legs. He's a lizard. Come on. That's why he's riding another lizard. And then luckily for me, a brand new Saurus Astrolith bearer. He looks so good.
Beautiful.
Just love him and can't wait to have the plastic one and not use my resin one.
Beautiful sculpt.
Then the box of 3 Agrodon Lancers. A lot of people have been waiting for these. These are the basically skink cavalry. I mean, the old cavalry are gone and replaced by these and the new models from the army box. So good. Cannot wait to get my hands on those. And then highlight of highlights, the Croxagore and Croxagore Warspawn in plastic. No more fail cast. Yes, I will be buying 4 or 5 boxes of those.
Yeah, I want to run just as much as I can a straight Crocs list at one point.
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of like running the Trog list. They are such beautiful sculpts.
And they're beasts. They are absolute beasts.
Monsters in combat. They're coming in. You can't stop them. You're just going to take a pointy rock to the face.
Yeah.
Or other parts of your body, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The Raptidon Hunters, which are optional Raptidon charges from the Army box, are also coming out. Another version of Cavalry. This is Skink Cavalry as opposed to Saurus Cavalry.
So there's your Starborn cavalry you can use, because in Fangs, they're battle line.
Yes.
And so you can fill battle line pretty quick there. But remember, just build the chargers.
Yes. I can't recommend the Hunters. Honestly, watch Vince Ventrilla's episode on Seraphon and watch, Rob over there at the Honest Wargamer. He does a fantastic breakdown about, why the Chargers are better than the Charger Hunter combo. That synergy exists, but it's not good. Next up is the resculpted Saurus Warriors. They're so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And, just so good. And you can build those with spears or clubs and shields. So I would recommend one of each. Then finally, thank you, God.
Thank God.
You have this new thing called the Spawn of Chotek Salamander.
Yep.
The Salamander kit was notoriously a piece of crap. I have 4 of them.
They're bad.
Fail cast, and they're just not good.
No.
Not good at all. Now you have the Spawn of Chotek with the 3 herders, the skink herders. So much better. Of course, the unit itself went way down in ability, but, it's there. You want to take it from there? Because I've shot my dino wad, if you will.
I thought that was a spawning pool on the floor. So Warhammer Horus Heresy, we get the Librarian Consul. He's kind of generic, but it's there in case you needed one for your army.
Yeah.
Then you get the Decurion Sagittar. Oh, man. Well, you just put him on top of a tank with a freaking minigun, right?
He's got the turret ring built right into him, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. Looks so cool.
And, I kind of love the way they're doing these tank commanders now where they have the base, it's just the torso up and it has the ring for the holes on almost all of the models. It's just great. And you can pop them in and out and use them when and where you want them.
Yep. This particular one, designed to be fitted on a plastic Demos pattern Predator, Sikaran, or Kratos.
Yeah.
So, God, it just has this like sort of Doom-esque look to him, I just absolutely love it.
It is a resin kit, though. That kind of makes me sad. So.
Imperial Fists and Sons of Horus shoulder pads and torsos.
Yep.
So, they look good. They look good. Made to order. And then we get to Warhammer Plus, Lore Masters History of the Tyranid Invasions, Black Talon. Episode 1 will be watched for free.
Oh, that's a good one because that'll get you into it. That's a good series. I got to say, I really am enjoying how they're portraying her. Yeah. Nice.
So, Lizard fans, rejoice. Next week, you're getting it all. And once you've got it all, then you can listen to this episode and know how to play in Path to Glory.
And know how to Path to Glory it, because you will want everything that comes out. So, trust me.
Yes.
That's a good. It's going to be a very expensive weekend for the boy here.
Hope you got about $600.
Yeah.
For one of each.
Oh, yeah, price increase. Wow.
What?
Yep.
All right, folks. Well, that's the news at 11.
Okay, it's time for lore. It's time for part 1 of the lore, which is the Seraphon Path to Glory. And of course, as is our usual, in order to talk about their Path to Glory, we have to talk about kind of their army-wide rules. And the Seraphon, like some other books, and unlike some other books, is split into 2 very distinct armies. And then from there, you can specialize into 2 different factions, if you will, keyworded things in each one. So you have the Starborn, which are your Slans, your Lord Croaks, your casters, your summoning, all of that stuff. And they are definitely the kind of Seraphon that we remember as, even though they've kind of retconned the fact that they don't dream these things into existence, they're actually existent. They just use their power to manifest them wherever the hell they want. And in this new rule book, that manifesting skinks wherever you want them is very big, because the army-wide abilities for Starborn are pretty crazy. I'll cover Starborn. You want to cover Coalesced?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So under the Starborn battle traits, you have to make a choice between Dracothian's Tail and the Fangs of Sotek. What we will do, what I will do, is cover those right now, because it's kind of interesting what they do and what they need to do. So the 2 constellations, if you do Dracothian's Tail, your ability is appear on command. During deployment, instead of setting up a Dracothian's Tail unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and set it and say that it is set up on the temple ship. At that point, you bring it in like a reserve, wholly within 12 inches of a friendly cosmic node and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. And cosmic nodes are basically heroes and your terrain piece and just basically anything you want because you're Starborn. I mean, it's that bad. It's, you just bring them in pretty much wherever the hell you want. The Fangs of Sotek, your ability is the Serpent Strikes. The commanding player of a Fangs of Sotek army can use the redeploy command ability. Now, this is broken. And
so dumb.
It actually, if you read this and you look at Dracothian's Tail, you're like, I could do this and have all the abilities of that, except much more easily obtained.
Yeah.
So, starting over with Fangs of Sotek. The commanding player of a Fangs of Sotek army can use the redeploy command ability up to 3 times in each of their opponent's movement phases. In addition, the first 2 times the redeploy command is issued to any friendly Fangs of Sotek skink units in a phase, no command points are spent. You know, Josh glommed onto this right away. So the first 2 times you do the redeploy command, you don't spend any points. So that means you basically get 2 free redeploys. If you want to do the third one, if it's important, you can spend the command point. But other than that, your redeploys in this army are free.
You know, I felt like what they did there is they thought like, oh, it's only restricted to skinks, so it's not that bad. Oh, no, like everything has skink as the key word.
And that's the thing is, if you don't have Slan or you're not a dinosaur, you are a skink. Yeah. And some of the dinosaurs are skinks.
Yeah.
Which is freaking sick.
Like, you have your basic skink unit. They're dirt cheap.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
They die to a stiff breeze.
But they'll never be there to die.
No, because
Ever.
they roll 2 dice when they redeploy, and you pick the higher one. So they always are like moving at their highest rate, possible in that roll. Then you have things like Pterodon riders and Ripperdactyls that are being able to redeploy. Like, holy crap,
And just, the crazy part about this rule is it makes the Pterodons and the Ripperdactyls, it is a super force multiplier for those. My problem with, especially the Pterodons dropping their bombs has always been getting them in the right position to actually do maximum damage. Mm-hmm. At this point now, I can literally set them up in your movement phase so that when my turn comes around, I'm just going to obliterate you. I'm going to have the best opportunity to roll well. So
the ability to move the right amount of inches, hypothetically, if you're close enough, you can bombing run them, can't you? So when you pass over a unit.
Yep. So, I mean, it's sick. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's just the basic abilities. So just keep in mind, folks, unless you are seriously hung up on the idea of having all your units in reserve, go Fangs.
Yeah.
Until they fix it. Their next rule is the Lords of Space and Time. At the start of your hero phase, you can carry out one of the following heroic actions with a friendly Starborn Slan instead of any other heroic action you can do with that hero. The first one is Contemplations of the Ancient Ones. Pick one friendly Starborn Slan. Replace one spell they know from the lore of Celestial Domination with another spell from that table. So, you are not spell locked in your Slan at all.
So dumb.
Which kind of goes, it plays into the fact that these guys are the masters of magic. They brought magic to everyone else. Yeah, but the mechanic is really bonkers. It's really cool.
They're only 275 points, Bill.
It's sick.
I can't even stand it. I can't stand it. They are too powerful.
I love
And you haven't even read the next heroic action, which breaks it even further.
Okay, the next heroic action is spatial translocation. Pick one friendly Starborn Slan, and then pick one other friendly Starborn unit, wholly within 12 inches of them. That's a big limitation right there. I'm telling you, big limit. Remove that other Starborn unit from the battlefield, set it up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from all enemy units. That unit cannot move in the following movement phase. So, yeah, can you say teleporting Troglodon? Can you say, yeah, I just, whatever you want to have in their face is in their face. So,
Jesus.
Okay, and then we go into, and this was the big thing that kept Starborn from being good in previous editions, was the cosmic power. So nowadays you get cosmic power points, which is like everybody else's summoning points and generic ability points. You get one cosmic power point each time a friendly Starborn wizard successfully casts a spell that is not unbound, successfully unbinds a spell, or successfully dispels an endless spell. Plus, you automatically, at the start of your hero phase, get one power point for each friendly Starborn wizard or friendly Starborn Astrolith Bearer on the battlefield. Keep in mind, the Astrolith Bearer is a must-have in this army.
Yes.
So, and you spend these cosmic power points, and this is where the shackles came off, because it used to be that the Slan would have to give up spells in order to roll to get some of these points to summon. And it literally was like, well, do you want to have a board presence or do you maybe want to have a summoning pool? It was either or, and both decisions were bad when it actually came to playing the game. Now they're just like Korn and everyone else. You get your points, you decide how to spend them. So you can do Azure Light, which is 5 cosmic power points, and then you can return D3 slain models to a Starborn unit with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 that is wholly within 12 inches of a friendly cosmic node. This is how you bring Croak's Saurus Guard back.
So dumb.
Yeah, in addition to Rally. Protection of the old ones is 10 cosmic power points until the start of your next hero phase. Friendly units affected by the Revivifying Energies ability have a ward of 5 up instead of 6 up. Lots of units have Revivifying Energies on their war scrolls. Jeez. So, you'll have to pick and choose and see if that one makes sense in your army at that time. Then you can cleanse the realms for 15 points. That's a lot of points right there, 15 of them, let me tell you. You might take a turn or two to get that.
It might take you a turn and a half, yeah, but you'll do there.
Roll a dice for each enemy unit within 12 inches of any friendly cosmic nodes. Again, if you have a thumb, you're a cosmic node. Okay, basically. Roll a die for each enemy unit within 12 inches. On a 2+, you suffer a number of mortal wounds equal to the roll.
Equal to the roll. Oh, my God. It's not even like D3.
No, it's... You roll a 6, goody. Yeah, it's sick.
It's guaranteed 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
If it goes off.
Yeah, it's freaking sick. And then, of course, you have the Summoning Seraphon table. I'm not going to go over it completely, but quite literally, you get points, and you can spend them on bringing things in. I giggled a little bit when I went to the top and saw an Engine of the Gods cost 30 of these points. I wouldn't spend 5 on it in this new incarnation. It's a piece of along with the Bastillodon and the Stegodon. Well, no, Bastillodons are all right. But basically, you can buy everything from 10 Skeeks for 8 points, all the way up to the last thing that you're probably going to want to buy on this table is the 10 Saurus Guard for 22 points.
What about the Dread Saurian?
The Dread, I don't think is here, is he?
No, he's not on that list.
Yeah, he's not anywhere. And I don't think he's in the army anymore. I think he's a dead unit.
No, I think that they still have him on like the Forge World docks and stuff like that, like Legends.
Yeah, they might. But yeah, Legends. So he's not ready for match play.
And I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know. And I love mine. So
used to be what, 40 points, I think, in the last iteration to summon the Dread Saurian.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. He was your game's output.
Yeah.
So, and that was if you gave up like every spell you had. It was so bad. But now Starborn is so good. We don't have to really get into their command traits and all the other stuff. They're generic command traits because they don't need a lot of crazy things other than the Star Masters, which are slan only. They have the ability here, instead of those bound endless spells and what have you, they can control up to 3 endless spells.
Yeah.
If you take that ability, you can give vast intellect where you know 2 extra spells, so you'd know 3 of the spells.
I think the one you take is where you get two CPP instead of 1 every time you cast a spell. Or
there is the Lord of Celestial Resonance, which you might consider, which is each time this generally successful casts a spell that is not unbound, successfully unbinds a spell, or successfully dispels an endless spell, you receive 2 cosmic power points instead of 1. So you're doubling your income. You're going to take that without a doubt. So
you take Croak plus another Slan. The other Slan has that ability.
Yeah,
it's
you are just raking in power points.
And a real quick comment on the heroic abilities, right? You generate CP off their war scrolls. You don't need to be sitting there trying to, get CP, in the hero phase. You don't need to. You just get it from your war scroll on 4-ups.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. It's so powerful.
Yes.
Why, Seraphon, are you like this? Why do you get all the rules?
Because they need to make sure that the Seraphon are hated for one reason or another. In the last one, it was the Coalesced with the Monster Mash and the Engine of the Gods just picking units to delete. In this one, it's now the Starborn that are just like, oh, you killed a unit? Let me see. I only have 30 of those in reserve. Okay.
See, like for me, it's not like a shotgun to mortal wounds. It's not like a machine gun to mortal wounds.
No.
It is an automatic shotgun of mortal wounds because it hits everywhere and it just keeps firing.
Along with a twice per game Claymore of mortal wounds because, it's stupid. It can be stupid. So I'm going to hand the book over to you to do Coalesced. Now, this got nerfed.
Oh, yeah.
Although I think there is still play here.
Yeah, I will say Scaly Skin is ridiculous.
Yes. That's so bonkers.
I think it's one of the few static abilities for army-wide that exists in AOS that's like this.
Yeah.
So the Coalesced Constellations, it's Kotal's Claw or Thunder Lizards. Kotal's Claw, you have Savagery Incarnate. This is more Saurus-oriented.
Yep.
Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Kotal's Claw Saurus and Kotal's Claw Kroxigor units that made a charge in the same turn. So you charge harder. And then Thunder Lizard. This is, of course, all the beasties. This is what everyone loved to play because you're literally playing with dinosaurs.
Yes.
And I have a bunch of plastic dinosaur toys that I get to play with now.
That's right.
Except they suck. So Mighty Beast of War, at the end of the charge phase, you can carry out 2 monstrous rampages with each friendly Thunder Lizard monster instead of 1.
And they have some bonkers monstrous rampages that are added with this book.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to those very quickly here. So first off, one of the abilities, Predatory Fighters, you had 1 to bite rolls for Coalessaurus and Kroxigor. That's their extra little mortal wound at the end.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the bites from the Ogres.
Yeah.
But speaking of Ogres, they have Scaly Skin, which essentially almost invalidates Ogorma tribes. Subtract 1 from damage rolls, inflict to a minimum of 1 by each friendly attack that targets a Coalesced unit that has a Saurus, Kroxigor, or monster keyword.
So all of them.
Yeah. The only way this could have been even more broken is if they threw skinks in there. That would have been insane.
Oh, wow. That would have been ugly.
Oh, man, people would have been rioting. So that's just so powerful in and of itself. And what they're trying to do is make Thunder Lizards more of a tanky build. Like they are more your attrition force.
Yeah.
Whereas, Coalesced is you want to win on turn 1 or 2.
Yeah.
This is more like you want to not lose.
Yeah, this is a really cap objectives and hold on to them
for dear life.
And, use 1 or 2 dinos to be your monster rush.
Yep.
And yeah.
So then you have the Beasts of the Dark Jungles. So the Coalesce monsters each have their own special, unique, monstrous rampage. Gargantuan Jars for the Carnosaur. You pick an enemy model within 3 inches. Roll a dice. If it's greater than their wound characteristic, it's slain. Not bad. You just got to pick up a model. You can break cohesion, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Earth-Shaking Charge, it's a Stegodon only. And it's after they made a charge move, you carry out the rampage, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch, and roll a dice. On a 4+, the strike last effect applies to that unit until the end of the following combat phase.
That's really, really good.
I want to say, before everyone gets super hyped, like, oh, heck yeah, I'll take a Stegodon in my Starborn list. This is literally under the coalesced battle traits. So if you are not coalesced,
Yeah.
you don't get it because it's not on the Stegodon's War Scroll.
Correct.
You have the Odious Roar. God, this is pretty good. On the Troglodon. Roll a dice on a 2+ until the end of the following combat phase. The range of this unit's Stench of Death ability is 12 inches instead of 9. And let me go ahead and jump to that real quick because everyone should hear this.
Oh, yeah.
Stench of Death. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units within 9 inches of any friendly units with this ability. So it goes out to 12. That's a big base.
Yeah, it's a really big base.
And so you actually increase, like, this is about tanking hits. That's what the dinos do.
Yes.
Right? So you're subtracting 1 at a 12-inch range with his roar. You're reducing damage by 1, right? This is just
It's
just hard to kill. It's not like super powerful. It's just hard to kill.
And I'm thinking a lot of the criticism for Coalesce comes from the fact that they used to be such an offensively strong army.
Yes.
And now they are 100% defensive.
Yeah.
When you look at all their abilities all told, they are I can take what you can dish out army.
Yep.
So sorry, I keep interrupting.
No worries. The last one we have is Bastillodon. It's the bludgeoning sweep. That giant tail that was on the back of that beautiful Basti does something now. So you roll a dice. Of course, in your rampage, 1 enemy unit within 3 inches. That's not a monster. If you roll, the dice roll is less than the number of models in that unit, you do mortal wounds equal to the roll. So unit of 10, guaranteed to do however much you roll.
That's right.
Right? Real strong.
Yeah, that's
Real
super
strong.
good.
Knock dimension.
And that is your serious mob killer, your screen killer.
Not to mention the snake basket is ridiculous now.
Oh, the Ark of Sotek is so good. So good.
It's one of those totally flipped. I mean, it was kind of popular before.
Yeah.
As editions were changing.
It was a very strange off-meta thing to take an Ark of Sotek. Now it's going to be like normal.
Yeah, so the Tide of Snakes. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with an Ark of Sotek is 6, the target suffers 1 mortal wound and the attack sequence ends.
Yeah,
wow.
Read the number of attacks.
How many attacks do you get?
Oh, pick
and
me.
what's the range?
Pick me.
Bill.
It's 20.
And the range is 3 inches.
3 inches.
So you have him sort of protected 2 inches back, you know, with your Saurus warriors, right? But he's still dumping snakes out. And he's got a static 2+ save. He's just so good. 12 wounds. Oh.
And all I can say is thank you, God, for getting rid of that 1-up save, which was such a contentious issue until smart people just said, look, this is how it works.
Right.
You can still fail.
Yeah, that Ark of Sotek is so powerful.
It's really, really good, and it's the cheaper option of the two. Because the Engine of the Gods, I believe, is $380, and it's
the
$300.
Solar Engine?
Yeah.
Does that actually change the amount it costs?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
200 versus 265.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I added 100 there. Yeah. And
yeah,
the
all
Arc
day.
is so much better. It's going to go up 50 points.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Coalesce battle traits, right? Now the bite thing real quick, let me just comment on that. So you have Saurus Jaws, Mighty Saurus Jaws, those things on all the various Saurus.
Just about everything
heroes.
has Jaws.
Yeah. I mean,
That's an
they're dinosaurs.
It's literally an army-wide. This is a serious buff.
So each time this unit fights, after all its attacks have been resolved, pick 1 enemy unit within 1 inch and roll 1 dice for each model in this unit within 1 inch of that unit. These dice rolls are referred to as bite rolls. For each bite roll of 6+, they suffer mortal. So you get a static 5+ to do additional mortals. So there's a lot more chip damage there.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, Saurus Warriors are okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
I think the Agrodons are going to be pretty fun when those get released because
I am looking forward to those.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. God, they look cool, too.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people play Seraphon.
Yeah.
It's dinosaurs.
It's just literally dinosaurs on Rampage. Tons of fun.
So that is the gist of just the changes there.
Yeah.
Slander's still Slan. They haven't changed too much.
Nope.
So they still do all the casting. They still cost less than they should.
Croak is absolutely broken at his points cost. But again, we were discussing this off record. Honestly, I think the point cost for Croak is based on the fact that you have to take Croak along with a unit of Saurus Guard.
Yes.
Because Croak's rule about he adds up wounds, and then at the end of every phase in which he's taken a wound, he rolls 3d6. So the minute you hit 20, so you roll 3d6, add the number of wounds he's taken. If it's 20 or greater, he is slain. He's gone. Anything else, he just eliminates all of his wounds.
Yeah.
So that seems like, oh my God, that's such a great mechanic. The problem is in this edition of the game, it's not difficult to put 14, 15 wounds on something that far away. You have Techless. You have all these other, you name it. You have you have all these armies that can just dish out mortal wounds at range.
Yeah.
And dish out wounds. So he is, I think he is pointed where if you just take him and you don't take the guard with him, and of course the reason you take Saurus Guard is Saurus Guard on their war scrolls have that protective ability that if they're within, I think, 3 inches of a Slan, which Croak is, they can absorb the wounds for him.
Yep.
So they have
On
a
a
built-in
2-up.
bodyguard. Yeah, on a 2-up. So
Jesus, they're so good.
it's super strong, and it's basically Croak's ablative wounds.
Yeah.
And, the idea is you let wounds pile up on Croak until he reaches, 3 or 4, and then you start pulling guard.
Yep.
So that you can guarantee that only a triple boxcar, or a 666 is going to hurt you.
Yeah, the one time you roll trip sixes, right?
So, yeah, I mean, that would be my like, oh, Yahtzee, yay. Okay, great.
Oh, so good. So that's the basics, but getting down to the Path to Glory. My quick high-level overview before you get into reading the details. One thing I like about it that I didn't think of initially is that it sets you on a goal, like a path to a goal, not just, Path to Glory, but because you have this mechanic where you get to pick 6 buffs one time each, right? When you add a certain unit or you add units, Bill will get into that more in a second, but I think it's really cool how you could sort of every single time you do it, it's different.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this time I'm going to path out. I need more charge earlier. This time I need blah, blah, blah. Right. I think while it's simplistic, it gives a really good focus.
Yes.
And I'll say that skimming the territories, they probably have some of the best territories printed in the last several books.
Some of the most expensive, in fact, the most expensive territory I've seen, but very, very good.
Yes.
So the Path to Glory, their special rule is very simple. It's called Sacred Spawnings. As your warlord battles across the mortal realms to further the great plan, they may at times be blessed with reinforcements from a sacred spawning. And what happens is when you add a Seraphon unit to your order of battle, you can say that it is from a sacred spawning. If you do so, you pick one of the types of sacred spawnings and make a note of that on your order of battle. There are 6 types. You can only have 1 unit of each type of sacred spawning on your order of battle, so you will only ever have 6. The ability of a sacred spawning applies to that unit in any battles fought in Path to Glory. Adding a sacred spawn unit to your order battle costs a number of glory points in addition to the number you must already spend to add a unit to your order of battle. So basically, it all goes down to your warlord's battle points. Yeah. So for the first sacred spawning, your warlord has to be between 0 and 29. That's a chunk.
Yeah.
So obviously, the first one you get for free, and it only costs 3 glory points extra. But that one comes easy. After that, it's now you're looking at 30 to 39 renown to get your second sacred spawning. And it's 6 extra glory. Of course, the extra glory, by this time, if you're not making that much glory per game, something's wrong. So the sacred spawnings there are 6 of them. The first is Sotek, which is you add 1 to the attack's characteristics of melee weapons used by this unit if it made a charge during the same turn. Okay. Then there's the spawning of Hanchi, which is when this unit makes a move, it can pass across terrain features and in the same manner as a unit that can fly.
Ooh.
It did not say enemy units. So you're not actually flying. So don't think you can fly over enemy units and hit them in the back. Don't do that unless you can fly. The sacred spawning of Quetzal. When the unit is targeted by an attack, if the weapon used for that attack has a rend characteristics of -1, change it to nothing. So eliminate rend 1. Nice. Ugh. You know. The sacred spawning of Tepak is unit has a 6-up ward against mortal wounds. You know, okay, I'll take it. The sacred spawning of Chotek, add 1 to charge rolls for this unit. Add 1? Really? Okay, whatever. I suppose. And then the sacred spawning of Itzel, units with mounts only. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by this unit's mounts. So that's your cavalry. You can see all of these are very, very simplistic. They are not meant to replace veteran abilities because there are veteran abilities.
Yeah.
They're just neat little, hey, I can tailor this unit a little bit. Mm-hmm. I can also see you going almost an entire Path to Glory with only doing one of these because basically it's free. Yeah. The first one's kind of free, but these aren't that big, and they shouldn't be. The army's strong. The army's very, very strong.
I'm just thinking, to slay into your order battle and make it so you reduce rend 1 to 0. Yeah. I might do that.
Yep.
So many tanky ways to handle this, right?
Yep. You want to do quests?
Quests. So, give me the lame part. Jeez.
No, well, you can do veteran abilities too.
At the end of a Path to Glory battle, this is Search for the Lost City. In a Path to Glory battle, roll a dice for each Seraphon unit holding within enemy territory. Add 2 if the unit is also within 3 inches of a battle edge. For each 6+, you discover 1 clue about the whereabouts of a lost temple city. Keep a tally of how many clues you discover. Once you've discovered 5 or more clues, you can play the Fallen City. And you get once you have fought a Path to Glory battle using the battle plan and won a major or a minor victory, you complete this quest. And then the reward completions are on here. So the rewards in step 1 of the Aftermath sequence, each player earns 5 glory points for each mission they completed. If player rolled the same mission twice, they earn 10 glory points instead of 5. That's part of the missions that are on here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If the Seraphon player wins the battle, they complete the Search for Lost City quest. They can immediately pick 1 territory from the Seraphon faction territories table, corresponding to a roll of 61 to 65, and bring it under their control without any glory points being spent.
Important thing there is 61 to 65. You cannot take the 66.
Of course not. And you'll find out why when we get there. Quest, drive back trespassers. The coalesced armies can embark on this quest. At the end of each Path to Glory battle, add 1 quest point to the progress section of your quest log if you won a major or minor victory, and there are no enemy units wholly within your territory. Once you have gained 3 or more quest points, you complete the quest. When you complete this quest, you can immediately bring the primeval jungle territory under your control without spending any glory points to do so. Cleanse the realms. Only Starborn armies can embark on this quest. At the end of each Path to Glory, add 1 to each quest point to the progress section of your quest log for each large core of the battlefield has any friendly cosmic nodes wholly within it.
And again, if you have a thumb, you're a node.
Once you've gained 8 or more quest points, you complete this quest. And when you complete it, you bring the Geomantic Nexus territory under your control.
Oh, boy.
All right. The War Against the Eternal Enemy. At the end of a Path to Glory battle, you complete this quest if you want a major victory and your opponent's general had the Chaos keyword. When you complete this quest, your warlord gains 5 renown points, and each other unit in your army that took part in the battle and was not destroyed gains 1 bonus renown point.
Now, here's something I want to call out right now.
Yeah.
In previous editions of Seraphon, they always had big bonuses against chaos.
Yeah.
And it was usually baked into either the War Scrolls or an army-wide special rule. They could just fight chaos better than anybody. All of that stuff is gone. And this is the only mention that I can find where it's, we're good against chaos.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's really, I understand why they're doing that. And it's, perhaps you want to call it a retcon.
Yeah.
Or honestly, I think mechanically it just works better now.
Yeah.
Where they're not focused on, I get to kill chaos, because really chaos armies are the ones that really stand up well against me. So I just thought it was strange that this is the first time there was any mention of their hatred of chaos.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm done interrupting now.
No, I mean, we didn't get into the full narrative in the book, so
no,
I'm pretty sure it's a lot in there, but
there is.
I'm glad that it's part of the narrative section instead of like the match play section otherwise, because you're right. I mean, like early editions of Seraphon were like, hey, go up chaos, right? And that's like what they did.
Yep.
But now they're, of course, as they should, make them more generalist.
Yep.
Unless you're playing narrative, in which case, I forgot to say, your warlord gets the 5 renown points even if you didn't use them.
Right.
which is huge. Veteran abilities. All right, so we know how these generally work. First one is Ferocity Unbound. Saurus unit without a mount or Croxagore only. This unit can use the veteran ability once per battle when it's picked to fight. Add 1 to bite rolls. So you get up to, in Coalesce, 4+.
Yeah.
Not bad.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
The trap is sprung. Skinks only. This unit can use the veteran ability once per battle at the end of the movement phase. If it is in cover and more than 3 inches from all enemy units, it can shoot. So your blow darts on your chameleons, pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not chameleon skinks anymore. They're hunters of Huanchi.
Oh, why? Oh, why did we have to change that? I do understand to dereference that and to put it back, a little bit more lore.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I was ripping through the book going, I have like 20 failcast painted up chameleon skinks. And I'm like, where are they? I can't use them anymore. What the? Oh, wait. There they are.
Right. That's why the Hunters of Huanchi book actually separates into 2 different units, because the Terror Wings are their own unit. Dear God.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, next one, Reserve of Celestial Vigor. This unit can use veteran ability once per battle at the start of a phase. Heal D3 wounds allocated to this unit. Probably good for your monsters.
Yeah.
Probably where you want it.
Just a little.
Star Charged Weapons. This unit can use its veteran ability once per battle when it's picked to shoot or fight. Improve the rank characteristic of this unit's weapons by 1 until the end of the phase, but it does not have an effect on mounted.
Right.
Or the mount's attacks.
Thank you.
Next one is Predatory Swiftness. Unit with mount only.
Mm-hmm.
This unit can use its veteran ability once per battle at the start of the combat phase. If it made a charge move, the strike first effect applies to that unit in that phase.
Oh, hook my chargers up.
Yeah. Marked for Greatness. This unit can use this veteran ability once per battle. When it's picked as the target of an attack, it has a 5+ ward.
Very nice.
So not too shabby.
No.
Now let's get into those territories that you apparently just get hand over fist if you complete your quest.
If you have a thumb, you get a territory. Okay, so I will cover all the territories here. 61, Primeval Jungle. Base idea is monster limit increases by 3. So obviously that's why they gave it to you. In the earlier, awesome. Because if you're doing coalesced monsters, it's your bread and butter.
Yep.
If you upgrade it for 5 glory, you get Hunting Grounds. In addition to increasing the monster limit, each time you upgrade a territory or your stronghold, reduce the glory point cost by D6 to a minimum of 0. That's not bad. I would manage to roll a 1 every time, but, it's 5 glory. At some point, it's just worth upgrading.
Yeah.
62 is the Geomantic Nexus. Oh, God. Can you say make Starborn better? Sure.
Yes.
Okay, make Starborn better. Increase your wizard limit by 3.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, just so increase your mortal wounds by 200.
Yeah.
Upgrade it for 10 glory points, and you get the Realm Shaper engine. Hey, that's weird. That's a name of a terrain piece.
What?
In addition, you earn D3 additional glory points in step 1 of the Aftermath sequence. For 10 GP, 1 to 3 glory. I don't know if I'd spend that glory point. I don't know if I would spend it on that one.
Would be a priority.
No. Late game, maybe. On a 63, it's a spawning chamber. You can increase your reinforced units limit by 3. Oh, God. Max skinks that are teleporting around the table. Oh, God. Okay, anyway. Upgrade for 15 glory. You can activate Celestite pools. In addition to increasing reinforced limits by 3, in step 7 of the Aftermath sequence, pick 1 Seraphon unit on your order of battle that has not yet been recuperated. Reduce that unit's casualty score by D6. Oh, yes, upgrade that for 15 glory points. 64 is Celestial Trove. This increases your hero limit by 3, which is obviously very important because a lot of your big guys are wizard heroes.
Yep.
So if you upgrade it for 15, you get the Vault Opened Celestial Trove. In addition to increasing heroes, in step 6 of the Aftermath sequence, you can pick 1 hero on your order of battle to be sent to this territory. If you do so, roll a die. 1 or 2, make an injury roll. 3 to 5, nothing happens. On a 6, you gain a bonus artifact of power that your faction has access to into your vault.
There you go.
That's a tough one. Not only do you have to pay 15 gold, but then roll a 6. So I don't know. I doubt if I'd go for that.
I mean, If it's all you have left, I guess.
I mean, at some point you're going to reach where you have to do these.
Yeah.
And you have to have the basic one because you need that hero increase.
Mm-hmm.
On a 65, you have the Ruined Temple City. When you bring this territory under your control, you immediately earn 3d6 glory points. Oh my God.
Jesus.
In addition, in step 3 of the Aftermath sequence, your warlord gains d6 renown. Okay. Yes. Give me one of those terrains, please.
I'll take it.
Okay, you can upgrade this for the low rock bottom price of 30 glory points, and it becomes a restored temple city. In step 3 of the Aftermath sequence, your warlord gains 2d6 renown points instead of 1d6. Oh my God. Hook this brother up. All right.
66, man.
66 is sick. Okay, Ancient Realm Gate. You can never have more than one territory of this type. Each time you make an exploration roll, you can re-roll one of the dice. So if you didn't get that 6 on the tens digit, roll again.
Roll again.
Of course, by the time you have this, I don't know. Anyway, upgrade. Now I don't know if I remember anything that had an upgrade cost of 45 glory points.
That's probably the most expensive they've ever made.
I think it is the most expensive. However, it's cheap. And when you hear what it does, in battles fought against other Path to Glory armies, you can use the Dracothian's Tail subfaction Appear on Command ability. If your army is not a Dracothian's Tail army, you can use this ability in addition to the ability of the subfaction you picked for your army.
Yep.
So you get both. So you will be Fangs and Dracothian's Tail.
Yes.
Okay. Or you will be Coalesced and some flavor of Coalesced and Dracothian's Tail. So just dinosaurs appearing out of nowhere. There is a reason that you can't pick this one, and it costs 45. It's bonkers. And once you get this, you're just going to giggle every game. You are going to laugh.
Yep.
And your opponent is going to either laugh or cry. So there are heroic upgrades for the army. So if you have a Saurus Oldblood or a Scarvet on foot, you can upgrade them to a Saurus Oldblood on Carnosaur. Costs you 6 glory and 35 renown. That's pricey, but that's a big upgrade. If you have a Saurus Scar Veteran on Agradon, you can get a Saurus Scar Veteran on Carnosaur for 30 renown and 5 glory. And if you have your regular old little, hi, I'm just a Skink Star Priest, don't mind me, you can upgrade him to a Skink Star Seer. Ooh, I have thumbs. I'm a dude. For 25 renown and 4 glory. And therein lies the path to glory for Seraphon. Again, super simple. It's nothing here is really hard choices. We're not talking Fire Slayers. We're not talking KO. This one is straightforward. You're going to, at the very beginning of your path to glory, you're pretty much going to chart a course of how you want to start getting. My first veteran ability is going to be this. My second one's going to be that. My first ability is going to be the terrain I want is this. So again, it's super straightforward, but the army is very, very strong. And depending on your play style, and again, like I said before, I think the big deal here is the Coalesced are getting really knocked because they're not the super strong fighty army that they were before. What they've morphed into is a very strong defensive army.
Yeah.
And if you play them that way, and there are some people that like to play defensive, they like to just cap and go and try to weather the storm. So I know I kind of like that play style myself. So who knows? I think it's a super strong book.
It is.
Super strong book. And I have to believe points are going to change.
And I think people being able to get into the army now, you know, all the new models that are already lined up, they're going to be coming out.
Yep.
Everyone's going to be able to jump in now and get to it. I'm really excited for seeing all these new sculpts, for getting these new models on the table. I think if you like playing dinosaurs, well, it's a great time to be there.
Yep.
If you like playing Battletoads,
Yeah.
you got that too, I guess, right?
Yeah. If you like lizards with spells, this is a great army to be at.
It's a very niche
Yeah.
thing to like.
It is.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of lizards that cast magic. Well, have I got something for you? Their territories are super strong too.
Yes, they are.
So this is going to be a strong contender in the Path to Glory campaign just because they're so straightforward. Again, their weaknesses are going to be Korn's going to be on the hunt for them.
Yep.
I think that anything that can weather mortal wounds really well, like Nurgle,
Yeah.
right? You'd be sitting there trying to set off all these mortal wound bombs, and Nurgle's like, what was that?
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
Yeah.
You know?
Because as soon as something like gets you locked in combat and your spells aren't doing the thing you need it to do, I mean, we can always teleport, but
Yeah, you're going to have to rely on movement shenanigans against those kind of armies.
Yep. But then you're just going to let them walk up to the objectives and hold them.
Yeah.
You know, and you still try and explode them, and they're like, huh?
And moving them off is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or I could even see, frankly, Flesh Eater Courts having a chance as long as you can protect your heroes well enough, because you just keep restoring models. So
as much as we laughed and giggled about how strong they are reasonably balanced. I've watched more than a couple battle reports, and the very initial ones where people were playing before the box was out, it was pretty much no one knew how to handle what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It took less than a week for those same channels to be like, okay, I know how to do this now.
yeah.
And it became much more even fights. They are going to be tossing out mortal wound bombs. However, they are still Seraphon.
Yeah.
They are still weak, and they do not have tremendous combat power. Their ability to move around the table is what really, they're like Sylvaneth without the woods.
Yeah.
Their ability to just be here 1 minute and gone the next is super strong, and it's key to winning. It really is the key to winning. When I played that last game with the daughters, it was a very near run thing, because once he figured out that don't be there for the alpha strike, don't charge them the first turn. If you are playing against Seraphon and you have the option, let the Seraphon player go first. It sounds counterintuitive to let the alpha strike happen, but if you move up and if you get closer to them or waste your turn by not moving, you've really put yourself in a bad spot.
Yep.
Force that Troglodyte to have to be up in your face. At least it's going to be within 18 inches. And yes, it's going to move in its movement phase, but hopefully you'll at least have a chance to get to it with your cav or something, your own movement shenanigans, and kill it. Kill that skink oracle fast. Once that thing is down, the game becomes much more even.
I will say, I think shooting armies will have a chance,
Oh, yeah.
a strong chance. Like a well-positioned KO can show up, pick up the Saurus Guard, and then just lay into Croak with the remaining guns, and that's going to probably be enough to have him roll off the table.
And KO that are on the boats on turn one are going to be pretty much, they're not going to care about your alpha strike.
Yeah.
You're going to do wounds to the boats, sure, but you're not going to impact the army all that much.
Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of how close do you place models together? You know, what's your setup? I mean, there's a lot that can happen here. It's going to be really fun trying it out, because I know at least 2 to 3 folks using them in the Path to Glory.
Yeah.
So I'll be getting a lot of work in with my effects. So
Well, and the big thing is when you're playing the Seraphon, if you don't have a good grasp of target priority like I don't, you're going to be on the back foot probably a lot.
yeah.
And yeah, so, but overall, I have to give this book I would say it's a super strong B+.
I give it an A-.
Okay.
I think once the points start to even out,
Yeah, and that's
probably going to creep up for
my
me.
beef right now, and the reason I gave it a B is because the points are so wrong. And okay, maybe they're not. Maybe GW has the balance idea down a little bit more. It's just that from the inception right now, I can tell you that a lot of the monsters are overcosted and a lot of the Slan are undercosted.
Yeah.
So on the face of it, their idea of the balance might be that they're costed appropriately for their fragility. So I don't know.
They might be to an extent, but I still think Stegodons need to come down. Slans need to go up.
Yeah.
I don't know if Croak necessarily needs to go up that far, maybe like 440.
The Skink Oracle needs to go up because
That's
of
where you
its
hit-
utility.
That's
And
where
I-
you hit.
Yeah,
Croak
that's
and
where
the
you
Slan.
balance Croak, is you make that guy,
Yeah.
the Troglodyte, a little more expensive. And it doesn't have to be 50 points. It could be 20, but you got to do something.
I mean, you have to think like they pretty much don't exist in the shooting phase. I mean, you have like your ballista thing and you have some bolos and some basic shots, but they're not strong shooters.
Nope.
They're strong magic users, and they're mediocre in combat.
Yeah.
They're going to seem like the spell dom, but that's their play.
Yeah.
or, tanking hits if you're playing coalesced,
Yep.
right? But their main play is in the magic phase. That's where they do the most work. So you're not going to have really long combat phases against them. You're not going to have long shooting phases with them.
Nope.
Their magic phase is going to be, the 35 minutes. But
yeah, you'll have a 30-minute hero phase followed by 5-minute everything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, just be on the lookout for that. If you have some wizards, but not too many wizards, but you like to take them as utility pieces, I would say probably don't, because they will just unbind your crap and you power them up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's do not cast useless spells against Seraphon. You're just asking to give them more points.
Yes.
Especially if they have the deal that gives them 2 for 1. So, yeah.
Yep. That's Seraphon Path to Glory, folks. So that's part 1 of lore.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump into preparing to execute a narrative campaign, and we'll be right back. Okay, for lore part 2.
We're getting into narrative part 3.
Yeah.
So if you're confused, so are we.
Yeah, it's part 2 of part 3. It's
lore part 2 is
lore
narrative
part 2,
3.
narrative part 3.
We're just going to keep saying it until we don't know where we are.
We'll do an index, all right? Jesus. God, bibliophiles. Anyway, this one is going to be relatively simple. That's why I sort of shoehorned it into this episode, because honestly, this is where we're going to start thinking about how we're going to execute our campaign.
Yep.
And there are some things that you need to consider along the way. You've sort of planned, you've got a concept for your campaign and how it's going to go. You've kind of used your resources and you've developed the framework for what you're going to do. Now you have to really think about, can I execute this? Can I bring it to life? Don't start a campaign if you can't finish it. If you don't have the resources to actually put it together, you don't want to disappoint yourself, disappoint your players, turn people off, what have you. And there's lots of little things that you're going to want to think about.
Yes.
In terms of sheer execution is, think about the basic hardware. Do you have tables? Do you have a place where you can do this?
Yes.
Are you relying on people to do it in their garages, their dining rooms, whatever? Are you going to do it at a store? Do you have enough terrain if you get players that want to play and are either reasonably new or they just don't have terrain?
Mm-hmm.
You got to hook them up.
Yep.
Especially if you're doing a themed campaign. If you're saying, hey, this is a jungle campaign and all the terrain needs to be jungle, well, maybe not everybody has that.
Correct.
So are you going to hook them up with jungle terrain, or are you just going to be like, whatever? I mean, if you're doing a big get together at a store and you want to have 6, 8, 10 tables set up, are you prepared for that? Can you do it? One thing that always happens in England and never happens in America, and when I say always and never, what I mean is very generally, but people bring, over there in England, people bring terrain with them, with their armies to put on the table.
Yep.
And not just the terrain that comes with their army, but they bring terrain to actually help beef up the tables. And what it does is it spreads around the requirement. So can you ask your players, hey, bring 2 pieces of terrain, a nice line of sight blocker that's reasonably large, and some scatter.
Yeah.
And if they'll do that, hey, great. It helps you out immensely. And who knows, you might want to reward them with a campaign point or whatever your currency is for your campaign. Maybe if somebody brings terrain, hell, if they bring a table, hook them up with something, make things work for people. But it's an option. Have people bring stuff. I've seriously thought about it for LVO to have some sort of incentive to bring your terrain, but people fly in. So anyway, I don't do it simply because of that. Another big thing you have to really consider before you start executing is, we've already discussed, you're putting together a rule set. Maybe you're using a battle pack straight out of one of the handbooks.
Yeah.
Maybe you're making your own battle pack. You have to get that thing printed. You have to get that thing emailed. In some way or another, you have to get it out to your players. Make sure you can do that. Make sure your players have given you... It's real easy to say, well, it's available right there on my Discord. Well, some people don't do Discord.
Correct.
Okay. It'll be on the Facebook file section. Some people don't do think about little things like that. What's your distribution channel going to be? Are you going to have these things professionally printed? You know, if you're Holy Havoc, everything is just done to the nines.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world over there. Think about how you're going to accomplish even those simplest tasks of how do you get the pack in the player's hands and make sure they're able to read it before, unless you want to spring it on them that day. But how are you going to do that? Other things, I'm going to jump down to the next section.
Sounds good.
Other things that you want to think about is, are you using Anvil of Apotheosis to allow players to sort of make an avatar of themselves?
Oh, yeah.
If you are going to use Anvil of Apotheosis, you need to make copies of it. You need to have it available for people to use.
Oh, my goodness. Guaranteed people don't have Seasons of Thondia.
Exactly.
Seasons of War Thondia.
And, you know, it's the guys over at the Nova Narrative, what they did was a simplified version and said, here, build from this, which was super simple, and it got them out of that. We have to print or we have to copy the Anvil of Apotheosis and hand it out, which technically it does not have GW doesn't have on those pages the ability to photocopy for personal use.
Yeah.
So technically you're violating copyright if you copy that section of the book. The way I did it was I have these base hero sheets, which Matt Hayward helped me write up years ago. Yeah, and he helped me bake up these generic heroes, and then you build them from there. I also put in the pack that if you have access to Anvil of Apotheosis, you can just build a straight out 20-point hero from there.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's on less than a 60 millimeter base, have at it. Do what you want. But again, if somebody didn't have Thondia, I had a character sheet or a hero sheet ready for them to go and build from there with stickers.
Remember, with Anvil of Apotheosis, you have to be careful about someone's ability to have negative play experience because of interactions that frankly shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, like an army that can dump ducats of dice, people.
They can bump ducats?
Yeah.
Okay.
Buckets of dice. And then they're able to get a priest when their army doesn't normally allow a priest. And now you're like, curse.
Yeah.
So by the way, when I roll 120 dice, right, and you're getting 20 mortal wounds from 30 ghouls, like, why? Why is this happening to me? Well, the interaction's maybe not supposed to happen, but it is because you let it in. So make sure you account for that, right, when you're looking at if you let people use Anvil.
Yeah, and it's baked in. Anvil of Apotheosis is definitely narrative, and people should be not that way, but you're going to find that person who's going to do it because it's there. It's an option. And yes, so have something ready, which does tie into something that in the next section, if you are planning, and remember when we talked about concepts and sort of how you're going to, what your campaign's going to be, we talked about different thematic things. So if you're going to have different twists on your campaign, like one of the things they pull off so brilliantly at Nova is every single table is different.
Yeah.
And the scenario is based on the table. So their whole methodology there is when they pair up people for the next game, they also make sure that those people haven't played on that particular table.
Yeah. Yep.
So that you get 6 different games on different tables. So you're playing different scenarios and experiencing the most you possibly can. Again, if you're going to do something like that, you have to have a pairing system that is going to allow you to do that. And even if it's just a straight out, hey, here's my spreadsheet and Billy has played on tables 1, 2, and 3. I will make sure that he's on 4, 5, and 6 in this next game. It could be that simple, but again, make sure you are ready for that before you start.
Well, and to that point too, you're going to need to make sure you have a way to keep track of everything. You need to have a good way to document things, right?
Yes.
You're going to have to kind of love doing paperwork, to be frank.
Oh, yeah.
You need to keep things organized so that way you can track who is on which table, what effects are going on. I mean, if you're a DM style, person where you like being the dungeon master, this is not hard.
No.
If you're the person who's more like, I've got big ideas, but I just want to see it all happen, and I don't like to do paperwork. You're not an accountant. It might be a little hard. But you just have to be organized in that regard, and you need to be prepared to do that. It's part of the execution.
Yeah, it really is. And it's a big part because I have found in running LVO that the biggest time sink for me has always been pairing.
Yep.
Is, getting everything set up. That's all just manual. I know in my head what I'm looking for. Getting the scenarios are done by the time I get there. I just have to hand them out to the players. All of that kind of work is done. The thing that really kills you is, okay, game 1 is done, ready for game 2. How do we make sure that the same people don't play each other again? And somebody's not playing on the same table, which gets old unless they really like it. I mean, the siege tables were pretty popular.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, make sure you have something. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself into a bind. And your in between rounds is going to take so long that people are going to get angry. And you're going to get frustrated. And everyone's going to hate you. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Or girl.
True.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that thing with thumbs. So, again,
lizard with thumbs. Good.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Lizard with thumbs. Yay! It's a point. Okay, so also if you're going to have special rules in your campaign, this is where it gets really. These are homebrew rules.
Oh yeah.
And if you're going to say something like, "There's no reserve rules. You can't bring anything in from reserves in this campaign," you have automatically, literally hamstrung at least half of the armies in the game that rely on their ability to use either a summoning mechanic or the Stormcast ability to come in from the lightning. All these different armies that rely on that as their thing. It's baked into their point cost, and you have harmed them. Other special rules you could think about are like some people I have seen people discussing that they're going to knock the rend of every. It's a really cold setting, so they're going to knock one off the rend of every weapon down to rend 0. So if you're a rend 3, you're now rend 2. Well, the problem with that is there are several units out there where their cost is based on their rend.
Yep.
Their impact, their ability to do their work is based on the fact that they're going to ignore armor. And when you take that away from them, you have artificially increased the point cost of that unit exponentially, because now they're not nearly as effective, and that person's going to feel like you singled them out. And so be careful when you do these wide-ranging special rules. Now, if you want to do something with movement, okay, say it rained really hard before this first scenario, so everyone is half movement on turn 1. Okay, you know what? That affects everyone equally. Yeah. And okay, that's fine. But if you start messing with the mechanics of the game, especially the combat, be very careful. And, it helps if you have a decent knowledge of all the armies. But if you start limiting magic, you're basically throwing a third of the armies out the window.
Yep.
Because they won't be fun to play and they'll suck. So be very careful with what special global rules you use. If you want to do something like I do, where you no battle pack, that affects everyone equally.
Yep.
So don't sweat that one so much. But when you start getting into mechanical things, worry. Another thing I have on here is I've seen a couple of campaigns where in order to sort of make the time frame look right, they say basically each week of the campaign is a season. So you start in spring, you go to summer, you go to winter, you go to fall, and then you have another spring. Duh. So these are really cool things to do, and you can implement special rules for the seasons. So like spring might be very, very wet and rainy, and it will have effects on the armies.
Yep.
Whereas summer might be really, really hot, and it'll have certain effects. And fall might be really windy, so flying units might be affected.
Yeah.
And then winter is, it's just winter. So if you're going to do something like that, again, be very careful with the special rules you implement. And last but not least, to tie this section up about preparing to execute and little things to think about before you start writing your pack is if you throw too many twists at your players, if you throw too many things that are different, you can turn the campaign from something that in your head sounds like a whole lot of fun into a lot of drudgery for your players.
Yep.
And to some games that they just don't enjoy. And, GW is guilty of this sometimes, where they just add too many weird things, and then they have to drop new editions. I'm not saying that's happening now, but anyway. So be prepared. And the hardest thing, like they talk about in writing and all this stuff, and especially like in D&D campaigns, is you cannot be afraid to kill your babies.
Oh, no.
You may have the most incredibly great idea about how to streamline combat, and be ready to throw that out the door. Because if it's not going to work well, and this is again where you have to solicit feedback from other people that have run campaigns, other Neos, hit those different, we talked about last time, the resources, hit the We Are the Neon sites, hit Reddit, hit all of these places, ask a question. Hey, I'm considering this rule for my campaign. What do you guys think? And yes, you will get a lot of stupid comments from ignorant neckbeards. And then you'll get a lot of carefully considered comments from real Neos that have run real campaigns.
Yep.
And they'll say, well, here's something to think about if you do that. And so just be ready to strip out things that don't. One of the biggest things for me this year at LVO, last year at LVO, was from the first year to the second year, I stripped out a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
That simply didn't have any effect on the campaign. I thought it was going to be a really cool thing that everybody was going to glom onto, and nobody did it. And I was like, okay, it's not something people want to do. Get rid of it.
Yep.
It's not important. And it makes my life easier. It makes their life easier. Now, if you have a homebrew campaign where you're playing with 4 or 5 friends and you're willing to take on all kinds of paperwork and all kinds of nightmarish tracking for stuff, maybe you can add everything in the kitchen sink. But if you're doing a decent sized event, say at a store, you want it to run smoothly and quickly. Don't have so much paperwork and so much stuff to do between games that their entire break time is spent getting ready for the next game. That's not fun.
A lot of times, like overlap, people are still trying to remember all their rules and those interactions. If there's Path to Glory going on in your campaign, they have all those interactions to remember and all those things. So there's a lot of paperwork already. I feel like most times keeping like one special mechanic for a table.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe an overall mechanic for the campaign. Right. But nothing that's going to stretch too far, because you have people who are already operating, as we all are, on just like, we have so many things that we have to deal with.
Yes.
Right. So we got to keep focused. I just want one additional thing here, like the mushrooms. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I eat a mushroom. All right, roll on this table.
Yeah.
You have this effect. Great. That's awesome, right? That's easy. There's a table there for you to
Exactly.
go to. But if it's one of those things where it's like, well, if you're close enough to this monster, the monster actually comes to attack you. But don't forget that you can back out through the portal and hopefully teleport to another table in the room.
Yeah.
So you can't throw so much at folks that they can't just work through it, make it easy. Have your printouts ready for each table, one for each player, so that way they know the table rules.
Yep.
That goes to the paperwork stuff we talked about at the beginning, making sure that's all there. Streamline it for yourself, for your players.
Yep.
You'll get there.
Keep it simple, stupid. So, I mean, it's, KISS definitely works. It's, especially for your first couple of campaigns, don't try to recreate Holy Havoc the first time you go out there. A narrative event like that has taken years to prepare, as well as expert level people to bring it off. And don't try to do that as your first campaign. Maybe your first campaign is just literally a Path to Glory with a couple of special rules.
Love it.
And keep in mind
Love
that
it.
The aftermath sequence of a Path to Glory game can take like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Minimum.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have 15 minutes between rounds, your players are going to be like, dude, I can't keep up this pace. I have to have a bathroom break.
Yep.
I have to have the ability to go stretch my legs or have a cigarette, or I need to run down and get a cup of coffee. Think about little logistical things like that. I try to have an hour and a half between rounds at LVO so that people can go and experience LVO.
Yeah.
In between the games and not be like, oh, Jesus Christ, I got 20 minutes and I got to. No, you don't want that. This is narrative. You want it to be fun. I only have 2 games per day. I will not do a third game in a day. Now, if you want to get together after the last game and play another game. How about it? You guys know the rules.
Yep.
Here's a scenario. Go for it. But please don't expect me to be there because I want to go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just little things like that. If you're doing it at a game store on a weekend and you have Saturday from, say, 11 to 11, and you need to pack 3 games of your campaign into that, it's going to be tough. And it's going to be hard on the players. And you, as the organizer, are going to be tearing your hair out between every round, and then you're going to be bored to tears while everybody else is playing and having fun.
Yeah, 3 games in 12 hours. I imagine you probably need to run 650-point games. Like,
Yeah,
it might be a sort of like diminishing returns thing where like 12 hours, okay, we get 3 650.
and that's where you think about maybe doing escalation.
Yeah,
Maybe do 500, 750, and 1,000. And that way, you're at the tail end. Think about it. It's just before you actually start to write your pack, think about all the pitfalls, the execution pitfalls that you're going to run into, and handle them.
yeah,
Try to think it through. Try to think through every bad possibility.
yep.
Is that our show for today?
I think that's our show for today.
right.
At least show proper.
Yeah.
We got some things to talk about after dark, but
we do.
we are. We'll dive in then. So thanks for joining us again on this surreptitious day where Seraphon was discussed during the Seraphon release. You are welcome. For those out there who are wondering when the Seraphon episode would drop, we totally planned this. Totally planned it. We'll take credit for it. So thanks for joining us.
The music in the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and is used under the Creative Commons license. The Rolling Bad podcast itself is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Information for this license can be found at creativecommons.org.